everyone, it's me again, and I'm here for the second day of learning Cricut Design Space. This tutorial is going to be a fun one for you and include some things that you can get started with right away, so let's get to it. Okay, so in the last lesson we learned how to upload the project. I'm just going to go ahead and select a project that I've already uploaded to show you the next thing. So all I did was selected it, and I'm going to insert the image. And once it comes in, you can notice a few things. So let's go through those. Right here, it's going to tell you the overall size of what your project is. It comes in selected and grouped most of the time. So if you just click on it, you're going to see that all of the panel on the right side turns to a gray. If you're not selected on it, it is ungrayed. So if I select it again, it's grayed. You're going to see that my project is grouped because it says all I can do now is ungroup it. I can duplicate it or I can delete it. So if I ungroup it, you'll now see that I'm going to be selecting individual pieces. And you'll also notice that these sizes have now changed to show you the individual piece size. So you have your width and your height here. If you want to change them, you can simply go into this box, type it in, or increase the size by clicking these little arrows up and down. The same for the height. Now when this little lock button is locked, you can see it here, it's locked, these will move with each other to keep it proportional. If you would like to change that, then you just unclick it, and then you can see that only one's going to change and not the other. Okay, you can also use these arrows over here to change the side by holding down the Shift key and your mouse at the same time and just dragging. That will also resize things proportionately. When it's unlocked and you resize it proportionally, it will do the same thing, up, down, up, down, up, down. If you don't remember or don't like what you've seen, you can always use this arrow back key and it will take it back to the original. And just keep hitting it until it's back to the original. You can also hit the Control Z and it will undo the last steps as long as you keep hitting Control Z. Now this project that was already made, the letters are already cut out of this design and the holes, and you can tell because you can see the grid behind it. In future lessons, I will be showing you how to do that yourself inside Design Space. Another thing you can notice is this is the position. So this is telling you where on the canvas it is, how high, how low, and at what position it is. You can also rotate your piece a little at a time, or if you know the degrees, you can type it in yourself. You can flip your object horizontally or vertically. Get it back to where you want it. Select it again. You can also arrange it. So for example, if things are on top of another and I want to see this H and it's behind the A, I'm going to arrange it. So I'm going to send it to the front. And now my piece is in the front. You will also notice that whatever you've last worked on since we brought this to the front, it will bring it to the top of this bar over here at the right. You can also edit the cut and copy. You can also select all, which will select everything on your screen. You can deselect it. And over on this side, you'll see that there is a no fill or a print, and I'll be teaching you what those mean in a future video. There's also a cut, a draw, a score, and foil. These are all different tools that you can use with your Cricut and different ways that you can cut, draw, score, or foil. And with each project, you'll learn how to use each one of those. Now going a little further, down at the bottom right, you'll often hear people talk about these tools down here, and they become important as you go along doing different designs. The first one is a slice tool, and remember how I said that this was already cut out? If this was not already cut out, we would slice out a new letter, and we'll learn how to do that in a future video. You can also weld or attach or flatten, and those three other things are also different functions that you'll learn as you go along. So that's pretty much the overall of what you can do once you bring an image in, and what the other menu items you can do with those designs. So once you have a design done like this, and if for now when you're getting my subscription box, you'll find that all of this is already pre-prepared for you, and you would just go on to make it. So what Make It does is it brings it up the mats. So the mats are different colors based on the colors that you chose for your project. So you can see sometimes when these cut out, they're going to cut out every single little piece that you have. So you're going to see the middle of the A here, the D there, and the other D there. You can move these objects to cut out where you want them. And I'll also show you another way that you can get them to cut in the same place. It will also give you different colored mats for different things on your screen. And this mirror is if you're doing a heat transfer vinyl and you're putting it on a shirt, you'll want it to be mirrored so that you can transfer it onto your t-shirt and it won't be backwards. So that's what the mirror means. You can also change your mat size to many different sizes. And I'm sorry, material size. So the material may be a 6x6. You may have a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper on there versus the whole 12 by 12. It's going to automatically rearrange for you so that it'll fit in the space. And you can also rotate these items as well as move them around. Now you can see because I'm using an 8.5 by 11, they didn't fit all on one sheet, so it now gave me 2 mats. So there's the other 2 letters. I can also see if I want this to fit on another mat, I can also move it. So you've got the 3 dots here. You can move it to another object, and then you select which mat you want to move it to. And it puts it on the mat. It overlaps the other one, so you do have to come in here and move it. So you can see if you can save paper by doing this, although I don't think so because it's going to overlap. So one thing I do want to show you is that Cricut puts in this automatic 0.5 space around the designs. So when you're making things, you need to keep that in mind because it's not going to be all the way up in the corner. So you have to allow for that little bit of overlap. So you may be able to cut these, but it's better not to, because see, they're overlapping just a hair, so you probably would not want to do that. Another thing I want to show you is, like, if we did not want to cut out this little piece, you can hide it and it won't cut it. But it hasn't gone away, it's still there. It's on your canvas. Let's turn the mirror back off and you'll see how everything rearranges. Then you can also move it back if you need to. If it didn't work on that sheet, you can move it back. You just have to come back in here and play with it again to move it to the right position. Okay. You can print copies. You can make as many copies of this as you want. It will just stay on this mat and print and print and print until that number is done, and then it'll go to your next mat. So if you're making multiple projects, that's a handy feature to have. Okay, if you find that you're done, you don't want to cut at this point, you would just go ahead and hit cancel. It'll go back to your mat, which we'll do in a second, or you'll go on to continue. When you go to continue, it's going to tell you to connect your Explorer. Mine is not connected at the moment, so it's going to come up and say no device found. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. Do you want to cancel the cut? Yes. And then cancel your whole make it. And it brings you right back to where you started. Everything's still in place. One thing I do want to mention again is to save your project, give it a name, and it will ask you that every time that you make a change in here, and you can save it as the same project or you can retitle it and it'll save it as another project. So for example, if I wanted to make this one bigger but I wanted to maintain these sizes, I would simply make these bigger and then save it and maybe call it Happy New Year's size 11.712, something like that, to give you an idea. Okay, so that's an overview of what we do once we bring a project in. We went over the menu at the top, the menu at the right, the menu at the bottom just briefly, and the Make It button and a little bit about maps. So that concludes session number 2.